My name is Erin Payton, and I'm the Executive Director of the 19th Century Charitable Association, which is located in Oak Park, Illinois. Our mission is strengthening our community through learning, giving, and sharing our landmark building. And part of that mission is why we are here today, our giving portion. And we're going to really get to know these new scholars, and you're going to enjoy this program. Before we get started though, this is set up a little different than our regular Monday meetings, but you might have a question for myself or for Janet Barkley when she comes on. So if you do want to ask a question at the end, we're more than happy to chat with you, and you can always type in that question or comment in the chat section or in the Q&A. And now I am going to bring to the program Janet Barkley, who is our amazing scholarship chair.
Good afternoon. And promise of future achievement. These are the words of Carolyn Poplett in her book, The Gentle Force. She was writing about the history of our scholarship program and the factors that were to be considered when selecting the scholars. One of the important qualifications to receive one of our scholarships is that a student demonstrates promise of future achievement. Sherwin Reed, who sadly passed away recently, left an impressive legacy at the 19th. She served as chairperson of the Scholarship Committee for several years and then became president of our organization. In scholarship letters from the year 2000, she wrote, "It gives me great pleasure to enclose a check which represents one scholarship granted by the 19th Century Women's Club. This award is based on need, scholarship, leadership qualities, and promise of future accomplishments of the student. We know that you will continue your fine record of scholastic achievement and service in college as you have at Oak Park River Forest High School." Signed, Sherilyn D. Reed. The 4 scholars that we selected in March 2021 meet that qualification. Let me give you a glimpse of that promise before you meet these 4 college-bound scholars in a few minutes. Then you can listen for the promise of future achievement as you absorb their present accomplishments. As Shakespeare said in The Tempest, the past is prologue. Also, these 4 scholars have goals and plans that support the promise of future achievement. For example, Talib Bechtemba Goss is headed to Northwestern, where the quarter system there will facilitate him having a double major in English and legal studies and a minor in psychology. His leadership and work for social justice at OPRF are quite astounding. On a lighter note, someone saw Talib on Zoom and thinks that he sounds like Barack Obama and looks like Trevor Noah. You can decide for yourself. Another of our scholarship recipients is Kalei Clark, whose high school activities include the organization Spoken Word. Individuals and groups write poetry that is intended to be performed. Kalei is going to provide us with an example later in the program. She is an outgoing, creative leader with a sparkling smile, whose goal is to be an attorney in order to address the mass incarceration issue. Danielle Gerolnik, another scholar, deserves that moniker because of her 4.35 GPA. That includes many honors and AP classes. Letters of recommendation for her emphasize her character, hard work, and initiative. She is working on her future already as she takes an education class at Concordia College while still in high school. Actually, some of you may even recognize her since she works for a vendor at the Oak Park Farmers Market and is so kind and warm when she helps customers. Owning your own for-profit tutoring business is very impressive for a 17-year-old. In this case, Reuben Hernandez, who has a 4.7 GPA. As one of his English teachers said, in short, Reuben's talents are quite literally too extensive to detail in this format. He is an incredibly brilliant and dedicated young man, and his potential makes me excited for the future. Once again, there is that promise of future achievement that we value. And in addition to his potential, Reuben is humble, generous, and extremely likable. Now I want you to meet these 4 special OPRF seniors who will be heading to college in the fall with help from their many supporters in the NCCA.
I'm very pleased to introduce Danielle Gerolnik, one of our 2021 scholarship recipients. And Danielle and I have a few questions. Danielle put these together, and why don't we get started? Danielle, you're planning to major in education. What drives you towards pursuing education, and more specifically, elementary education?
Definitely. I think for education specifically, it'd have to be the impact I can have on like a student's life. I think that, at least in my experience, all my teachers, they're like little parts of me. And I would love to give that to another person. And especially just influencing another generation. I think for elementary specifically, it'd have to be, it would definitely have to be that the kids are still so young, they're developing, and I can really influence them still, I think those were some of the most fundamental years. And I can really, teach them acceptance, doing the right thing, standing up for others. And that's really important to me. So I'd love to pass that on.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with teaching young children, because that's when the foundation of learning begins and is developed. You asked, one of your questions was, what has been the most impactful class you've taken at OPRF, and how was it impactful for you?
Definitely. So the first one to come to mind is definitely AP US History. I think that academically, it taught me how America has come to where it is today, and therefore how we can improve upon and build up and go forward in a lot more of an accepting, better way.
You've been a member of stage crew for the theater productions at the high school. Could you tell us a little bit about what that involves? And then how did being part of stage crew help you grow?
Sure. So I've been a part of it since right before my freshman year. I took it as the summer musical class to try and meet some new people. So it's really been there for me throughout my whole high school career, and a very big comfort place. It's basically like a second home. I'd spend countless hours after school there and on the weekends. And basically what we would do is just build sets, do props, design lighting and sound for all the musicals and plays at the high school, and even running some of the events for teachers and staff and things like that. And we still do it online. We run Zooms things and just make sure everything goes smoothly. In an online setting, it's been a little bit more difficult transferring a physical club online, but this year's been definitely about figuring that out and being able to still make the most of it. I think that especially has been able to help me grow. This year I had the privilege to be one of the foremen, which is basically like one of the presidents of the club with 3 other seniors. And it really gave me an opportunity to think outside the box, which is one of the key things in Stage Crew, is just being able to, make something out of nothing. And that's basically what we had this year. We had no previous experience doing online shows. And a lot of first semester was about figuring out how we can do that, make it run smoothly, and just being able to still put on a good show,
Yeah. I also was hearing that you had to be inventive and creative, you start from scratch rather than having, face-to-face encounters and working together backstage. You had to do it virtually, which must have been challenging at times, but also you really figured out things, problem solving,
Exactly.
So yeah, that's
One
great.
thing to say the least. I think we did a pretty good job, though. I was
Sounds
able to
like it.
do cool things.
Yeah. Well, another question is, what are a few things that you're looking forward to during your freshman year at college? And I know you haven't made up your mind yet about where you're going to be going, but what are you generally looking forward to wherever you go?
Yeah, I'd have to say this might be wishful thinking, but hopefully being in person, I think that's being able to do that, especially during my freshman year, physically being able to see new people instead of online. That's something that I'm really looking forward to, along with the sense of independence, as much as I can get it my senior year, being on my own in a new place. I think it's really exciting, a little terrifying at times, but I think I'll get over that eventually. And being able to meet new people, I think, I don't know, I think people that, are pursuing the same things that I am, who are like driven towards the same things I am, just being able to meet like other people who want to go towards education, whether that be like high school or elementary, middle school, preschool, anything like that, along with just being able to start on that career path and learning all the things I can and just bettering myself.
Yeah. Well, having gone to college, it is an enriching experience. You meet people from different backgrounds and have different interests, and then of course finding what you want to do and developing that, with your courses and your professors and your experiences too. So that's great. That's great. So we're excited to hear where you're eventually going to go. So keep us in touch.
Will do.
The last question, and I see that you might have some evidence of your metalworking class maybe on your ears, your earrings. And I was really interested, and I know others will be interested as well, as what did you enjoy about the class and what made you take the class in the first place?
Definitely. Oh, definitely one of the most fun classes I've taken at OPRF. I took it first semester of this year, and technically a little bit last year. I ate a lot of my lunches in that classroom for a while, which is one of the reasons I actually took it, being able to, I guess I wasn't technically allowed to do some of the things in the class, but I was able to help out around during my lunch breaks. So I wanted to actually take it for once. Sadly, that was in an online setting, but I think it still went pretty well. Again, it's something where I got to make something that was completely my vision out of nothing, just a random sheet of metal, and just being able to make like earrings, necklaces. I made a let's see, I have this on my wall, but I made this little ring. Doesn't fit my thumb, but this is out of chainmail.
Oh, wow.
So being able to learn all different styles of metalworking, the history behind it, and in an online setting, I'd have to say the best part of it was just being able to take a break from the computer. Like in such a virtual year, just being able to do something physically and like put my energy towards making something that I could be with throughout my entire process, and then being able to show it to the world and everyone around me. And even giving it as gifts. I think it's something that's so personalized and homemade. I thought that was really beautiful.
I'm sure anybody that receives your metalwork is very grateful.
Yeah, I know. I spent a lot of time on it, so I think I really, really like that. I actually just bought some more supplies last week so I can continue doing it.
That's great.
Throughout the summer. Yeah. So, and I love 3D art. I think being able to really form something with my hands. I'm not as good with 2D drawing, things like that. So being able to mold, and I did ceramics last year and my freshman year, and I wanted to continue on trying different 3D art. So that's why I took it.
Great. That's great. Well, I have to say, Danielle, you're a gem, and we're so happy to have you as one of our scholarship recipients. It's been wonderful talking to you. I can hardly wait to see you in person, and maybe we can chat some more about education and have a cup of coffee in the near future. But thank you again, and we look forward to, seeing you and hearing about your studies and your next 4 years. Thank you so much.
I'm Kathy Gillis, and it's my pleasure to introduce Reuben Hernandez to the 19th Century Association Community. One of his advanced level teachers speaks volumes when she commends him for his keen intelligence, intense drive, and flawless character. Reuben has been fascinated by engineering since before middle school. His outstanding achievements in the highest level of science and math courses offered in high school have superbly qualified him for a top-level engineering program, and he will be attending Washington University in St. Louis in the fall. Welcome. We're just so glad to have you. And will you begin by telling us something about your passion for engineering and how it has evolved over a long period of time?
Of course, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. So I would say my passion for engineering really started as a young kid. Every time I got a toy, I would always try to figure out how it worked. Every time it broke, I would try to take it apart, maybe build a new toy out of it. I was just always very curious about all of that. And to me, really, engineering is about problem solving. It's just identifying problems, finding solutions, and figuring out how to make that work. And that whole aspect is something that I'm able to apply to every part of my life. And I feel like that's one thing that makes engineering so special, is that it's not just a career path. It's really a mindset, and it's a way to live your whole life. And I would say my passion continued to develop throughout middle school when I joined Vex Robotics. I did that for 2 years. And that really helped me realize, oh, this is something that is something very fun and that I could be passionate about as well. And in high school, I started to learn a little more, become more passionate about space and space exploration. In my junior year, we had our junior theme assignment, and I decided to write about NASA. I wrote the case for NASA, um, and that was a very, very intense research paper that I had to write. It took several months of research and writing and editing, um, and it was just something that really allowed me to see all the possibilities that come with this path that I'm choosing to take, and my passion for engineering.
That sounds really interesting. You wrote your scholarship essay on how the words of your um, grandfather have guided you through some tough times. Tell us about that.
Well, my abuelo, he was always a very positive individual. Um, he would always say, "Voy bien hoy, mucho mejor que ayer," and that means in Spanish, I'm doing good today, a lot better than yesterday. So in his last few years, he was pretty sick, um, and that's something that he would always live by. Every time we saw him, even if we could tell that he was in pain or he wasn't feeling the best, he would always say that, and it really had an impact on me. It really allowed me to see how much a positive mentality can impact your life, and how effective it can be for yourself and for other people as well. Um, it's just it's something that has helped me through really everything. Um, Even during COVID, this past year, um, it really helped me be able to focus on what's important to me, um, and just keep that mentality in my head. I'm doing better today. I'm doing better today. Um, and it just allows me to keep my priorities in order. And it also helped me move my tutoring company, Classroom Ready Education, which I run along with Joey Pascarilla. It helped me move it online because um, it's an overwhelming task. I mean, everything was going on. It was COVID. So school just shut down. We were dealing with the changes to the classes. SATs were canceled. I didn't know what was going to happen for colleges. And just knowing that, all right, I'm doing better today. I'm doing better today. And just having that positive mindset allowed me to just focus on what I really had to do. Okay, we got to take the first step of just figuring out what we can use online, what strategies we can use to tutor, um, and just do it step by step. And it allowed me to always keep that positivity and not lose myself in all the chaos.
That's wonderful. Your AP teacher says that you're a conscientious citizen with a passion for social justice and an instinct to help others. What are some of your activities that have helped you that have involved you in cutting edge issues?
Well, I would say one of the main ones is the volunteer program that I initiated at our tutoring company, Classroom Ready Education. Um, I actually reached out to Felix Combois, who is a mentor at Friends of the Children Chicago, which is a mentorship organization. They have mentors who basically are assigned to certain kids from underserved communities, or um, and basically they stay with them all the way until they're 18, from second or third grade until they turn 18, no matter what happens. So it's just someone there to guide them. And so I reached out to him, and we were able to set up a meeting and eventually set up a whole volunteer program through Classroom Ready Education, where him and several other mentors would bring a few of their kids that they're working with every Tuesday to the Oak Park Public Library. Um, and the mentors at Classroom Ready Education, the tutors at Classroom Ready Education, alongside myself and Joey, would provide them with tutoring every week. And it was really special to be able to see how they they eventually became excited to actually come and learn. And these were kids that were, for the first several sessions, very very to themselves. It was hard for them to open up to new people, um, and accept this help, really. So when they finally realized that we were there for them and we were there to help them, um, and they started to ask us, like, when's the next session going to be, or their mentors would tell us that over the week they had been asking when they could come back. That was just a really, really special moment, for me and the whole team.
Yeah. And what about your ideas for being involved in the community in college?
Well, in college, I actually was selected for a very special community that I'm very happy to be a part of, which is the Anica Rodriguez Program Scholarship. Um, and this is a scholarship that its four pillars are very conducive to my own ideas and morals. It's very much about volunteer work, bringing diverse cultures and groups together, leadership and academic achievement. Those are the four pillars, and it's just a really great community that really encourages that. It encourages volunteer work, and it encourages reaching out to the community and being a part of your community and always having a positive impact.
That sounds like a really wonderful program. Um, what music is a long-term passion of yours. Um, Tell us how it's enriched your life.
Well, I started playing the violin in second grade, actually, so a long time ago. Um, and it's just always been something that I could rely on. Um, no matter how difficult the day was, no matter what's going on in life, music is just always something that will be there. And I can always just immerse myself into that world, whether it's even just listening to music or playing it on my violin. It's all just, it's just a really magical thing. It can just take you into a different world, and that's something that I love about it.
Hey, Kalei, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. You ready for this?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. So, first of all, congratulations again on being chosen one of our scholarship recipients. There are two factors that we consider, two among many, but two of them are your scholarship and leadership. So that you don't have to like ring your own bell, I'm going to just go through a few of the things that fall into the scholarship category. So, first of all, for 4 years, you were on the dean's list and you were on the honor roll. Then for 2 years, junior and senior years in high school, you were a member of the National Society of High School Scholars. And then, well, not then, but also during your junior year, your counselor awarded you the Counselor Award for Excellence. And I just want to mention that in the letter that he wrote, this letter of recommendation to us, he stated, and this is a quote, Kalei Clark personifies those things that are the best about Oak Park River Forest High School. I think that's really a big compliment. Personifies the best things about the high school, the whole high school. So besides your academic accomplishments, you have held multiple leadership roles. Yes, positions.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so one, you were the president of the Black Leaders Union. You were a member of the Student Achievement Network. You were a student program director of JETS, which stands for Joining Everyone Together for Success. Now, you've also been involved with Teen Creative Conference, right? So would you tell us something about that, what that involves?
Okay, sure. So I started the Teen Creative Conference because I saw as a teen there was like a lot of spaces for teen creatives to showcase their talents. So the Teen Creative Conference is a 2-day conference. It was held December 30th and 31st of 2020. And it was teens and adults, and the teens showed off their talents, and the adults were adults who succeeded in those roles. So actors, singers, dancers. And we had about 26 participants, including teens and adults.
Excellent, excellent. Sounds great. So also, moving on, so you have been, and you intend to be actively involved with the Living History Project, which takes place at the Oak Park Public Library. So what does that involve?
So it is an intergenerational group, and we focus on social justice and equity. And we focus on a few skills, and it's facilitated by Billy Brooks. He was a former Black Panther, and we have bi-monthly presentations. So we would have another presentation in May.
Okay, so how do people from outside, who all is involved? Yeah, like you, so you're high school, right? And you said there are adults. So if I wanted to become involved, how would I do that?
So we are programmed through the Oak Park Public Library. So you can just go search up oppl.org, I believe, and search up Living History. And once you get there, there's a link that can you register for Living History. The meetings are Mondays and Wednesdays. And once you get that Zoom link, you just hop on at 5:30 and we'll be on there.
Okay. So it's interactive then? So if I link, okay, so it's interactive. Cool. Now, what about you as a teen investigator? What does that involve?
So me and my fellow investigator, Sai, we got involved with the advisory board when Dr. Ashley Knapp, a researcher from Northwestern, she came and we helped facilitate the team relations relations of the research study after participating in ourselves, and the study was just an interview. And after that, we have collabed with her and helped the teen advisories and the adult advisory board. And basically, we are partnering with her to make the investigation more accessible for the community, including the teens, which are the focal point.
Mm. So the program itself is like an interview of teenagers. Is that
so?
how it works?
So it's a two-part investigation. So the first part was interviews, and the second part, me and Sai were in charge of the advisory boards. So we had to get teens from Oak Park and Oak Park areas and adults from the Oak Park areas, and then come up with the board, and they put their input on what the research is. And I don't think I told you, but the research is for a mental health app for teens.
Oh, okay. Excellent. All right. So those are just some of the things you've been involved with that have shown your leadership skills. So I'm going to ask you, what about future plans, like college? You haven't heard yet, I know what college, but okay, let me ask you this. If you had your druthers, what would be your #1 school to attend, college?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I think it's either Harvard or Brown because, well, Brown, they have like a really good creative writing program, and then Harvard has a really good law program, and that's what I want to do in the future. I later want to become a judge, but before that, my undergrad, do creative writing, and for my grad, go to law school, become a lawyer, and then later a judge.
So if you went to Harvard, you could just go straight through, do everything right there at Harvard.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's push for Harvard. And so you want to be a judge and lawyer.
So,
and do
well,
creative writing before that.
Yeah, so I would do creative writing as an undergrad, a lawyer, and then I think you have to have so many years as being a lawyer before you can actually become a judge. So then I'll become a judge.
And what would you specialize in as a lawyer? Because there are all kinds of lawyers.
I would specialize in the wrongly accused, particularly in Black males.
Oh, okay. So 5 years from now, what do you see yourself doing or being or having?
Okay, so 5 years from now, I would be in my first year of law school and getting my JD, and hopefully the 6th year of doing the creative conference.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, so you're gonna do that all that time?
Yeah, I'm plan on continuing the conference each year.
Okay, excellent. All right. Now, when you interviewed with us before, we asked what are 3 words that best describe you. So I'm going to ask you again. They might have changed, they might not, might be the same, doesn't matter. So just what are 3 words that you think best describe you?
Okay. Well, the obvious one would be a leader, just because of all my positions. And then the next one would be creative, because I do a lot of creative things outside of the Teen Creative Conference. I played the violin for over 13 years. I've dabbled into theater. I've done singing, acting, anything creative. Tried doing art, wasn't really successful.
Really?
Yeah. And then the last one would probably be open-mindedness, because I like to keep an open mind, and you don't always expect something as a first impression. So you always gotta keep your mind open.
True. All right. So I want to thank you very much for this interview, but I don't want my voice to be the last one. So how would you like to end the interview? What would you like to say?
I'm just excited to be here and to be a part of this program. And I'm excited for the next 4 years.
Hi, I'm Kalei Clark, and I will be performing a piece called Dark Skin. Why am I too dark? Walking down a sunny street, stare, screaming too dark. The summer blaze tans my crinkled skin, and I am still too dark. The winter breeze freezes every skin cell 2 shades lighter. and I'm still too dark. I'm always asked where I come from. I tell them I'm Afro-Caribbean. They look like they just solved the Rubik's Cube. Heat burns my scalp as I straighten every coil, trying to prove I am not that dark. Staring into the mirror, the lights go off, then come back on to prove I can still see my dark skin. Not only my white-dyed eyes and my whitewashed teeth. Just how the clouds cover the sun, I cover my skin in all colors, and then I say I am proud of my dark skin.
So I will just say for the sake of the audience that our fourth scholar today is Talib Bechtemba Goss. And he lives up to the scholar part because I looked at his resume or his transcript, and there are a whole lot of A's there, especially in those demanding AP classes. So Talib is joining us at this time today because he just played in a football game. So how did it go?
It went pretty well. We won 18-15. So, we'll take a win any day.
Great, great. And what's your position?
I do all the special teams. So I'm the kicker and the punter. So
what does your name mean in Arabic?
It means truth seeker, which I think is kind of ironic, and maybe fate had it, but I'm really insistent on being able to find out the root causes of different evils within this world, and I focus on social inequality and a lot of educational inequalities as well. So I think it's really interesting that my path kind of went through there.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. We've been awarding these scholarships for decades and decades, and this year is the first time that we've received a letter of recommendation for a student from the superintendent, and that was for you. Very impressive. You are on OPRF's Superintendent's Advisory Council. What is it like to work with her, and what issues are you working on?
Okay, so I'll start with the first one. Miss Pruitt she's a leader. She's a trailblazer. She's everything I wanted a superintendent to be. And she's also a role model, not only because of the amazing things she does, but because of the color of her skin as well. She shows to a lot of students that no matter what, no matter how we're painted in the media, how minorities are painted, how a lot of the time we're led to believe that we can't hold positions of power, she's someone that's just killing it. She's someone that when you come in the door, she stands with security guards and welcomes you. She's the one that you're going through the hall, she'll pull you to the side and have a conversation with you. And you don't even know it's a superintendent. You just think it's someone that's genuinely interested in your well-being. So I love her. I can't say enough good things about her, and I'm really sad she's leaving this year, but all the best to her. Now, for our work on the Student Advisory Committee, the Student Advisory Committee is actually really interesting because it's led by students. Now, we may have some overarching goals, and a lot of that's just diversity and equity within our school, but we really get to decide what the viewpoints are. We really get to decide what we want to talk about. And I'm actually the co-chair, which is kind of the leader of the group for the students. So I go ahead and I put together all the different activities and different things we're going to talk about. So we really just focus on a lot of educational inequalities and how students feel and how we can kind of change that within the school atmosphere by implementing new rules or by having some teacher or curriculum change, stuff like that.
You have been involved in so many different organizations that are working on racial equity. How do you feel the high school's doing? Is progress been made?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, obviously. And speaking as someone who's been on the advisory committee for 4 years, someone who's on numerous, upwards of, I think, 5 advisory committees just for the school on educational inequalities and a lot of racial barriers for students, I think we're doing a good job. I think that there's obviously so much more we could do, but I think you have to, one of the things I've really learned through the committees is perspective. You have to understand that you can't get from A to Z immediately. You have to get to B and C first. So I think we're taking the necessary steps to be able to get to those points. And I think having diverse classrooms and having a curriculum, detracking the curriculum is going to go a long way towards making it a more diverse classroom and thus achieving the goal of having a more diverse student body that's represented highly in the school.
Great, great. You've served on so many committees at the high school, as you mentioned, focused on racial justice. And now, as a capstone to all that work, you serve on the Illinois State Board of Education's Student Advisory Council. Please tell us about your experiences on the council.
Okay. I would start with that the council is comprised of 22 members, 22 students who are from all across the state, rural Illinois to metropolitan Illinois. And these are all students who are heavily invested within their community and within Illinois. Illinois State Board of Education is was the next step for me. It was the highest point that you can go when you're trying to fight educational inequality as a high schooler at the end of the day. So right now we got put into subsections and I'm working on the diverse teacher and learner ready standards. So basically right now I'm working on hiring a lot of diverse teachers because in Illinois, we have a teacher shortage. And I was tasked with basically filling those teacher spots with diverse teachers. So right now what I propose, the idea I came up with is to offer HBCU teacher partnership programs so that we're investing more into HBCU schools because they have the diversity already there.
That sounds really concrete and something doable. That's wonderful. I love hearing that. You also started your own nonprofit, Opportunity for All. Tell us a little bit about that.
So in 8th grade, I was tasked, just like every other 8th grader, with a service learning project. A lot of kids, usually you just went ahead and kind of wrote a report, or you went out and you volunteered at some community banks, or you just did a lot of different things that are absolutely imperative we need in this day and age. Like, these are things that were amazing. But talking with my mom, I knew only a little bit about educational inequalities, but I've seen it all my life. You know, I've only had a couple of Black students out of hundreds within my classes that are Black, and I take a lot of advanced classes, so that's just showing the representation there. But I started this program called Opportunity for All because there was a huge educational opportunity gap. A lot of students of color weren't getting the opportunity to be able to be on the level with their white counterparts. So what I did is I made a program that focused on 2nd to 4th graders, but mainly on those 3rd graders, because that's where I saw the educational opportunity gap kind of rise, because that's where reading plays a huge impact on literacy there. So basically I focused on getting a diverse amount of diverse books into the hands of children. Also, a kind of subset of that was also, we did some tutoring to the schools, but that wasn't what the program was focused on. So with that help, I partnered with all 8 elementary schools, and I got a couple thousand dollars in grants to go ahead and purchase those diverse books and get them in the hands of these students who really needed them.
So by diverse books, you mean giving them books that they see children of their own color?
Yeah, having protagonists, which are having the protagonists be people of color, because in almost 99% of these books, it's white protagonists, and people of color can't see themselves in books. They don't want to read books that they're seeing other people. They want to see themselves. They want to take the journey for themselves. So that was also, books play a huge role in kind of molding what a student believes he can or can't be. So when you're looking at, in these books, you see Black people, and the only time you see them is if they're talking about bad things, they're talking about prison, they're talking about these other things, serious topics in books. So we got books in there where it showed that a Black man can be a president. It showed that a Black man can be a Supreme Court judge. It showed that a Black man can make a difference. So I really was happy with the book selection I got, thanks to my mom, who's a principal, recommended some great books. And I'm really happy with how the program played out.
That's another concrete accomplishment. That's very impressive. Okay, you're going to attend Northwestern. What will you study there that carries forward your passion for justice?
I believe that I'm going to be studying, not completely sure, but I want to definitely study legal studies and dual major in economics probably. I think those both, understanding the economy and how, understanding what money means and understanding how it moves and who moves it and why it happens this way will also be able to help me with my knowledge of how we can make real change within our communities. Because if I have no knowledge of the things that matter, money, to people, then I'll have no idea what we can appropriate to different programs and how we can do different things. And then the legal studies, I've always wanted to be a lawyer, and I believe I can defend those if I become a lawyer. So there's no greater knowledge, no greater power than being a lawyer. So having the legal studies degree would really help.
So I want to again congratulate you on being selected for our scholarship. We are very pleased and proud to count you among us. So thank you for your time today, and when you must be tired from playing football. You are just an extraordinary young man whom we wish great success at Northwestern.
I really appreciate it, Janet. And I want to thank everyone in the 19th Century Club for giving me this opportunity.
I would like to share with you some of my favorite quotes. These quotes have led me to take immediate and instrumental action in fighting against social and educational inequities, and has led me in my path over these past 5 years. The first is by an actual distant relative of mine, Edmund Burke. He said, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." I really like this quote because we so commonly believe that evil deeds are solely done by evil people, that the worst in humanity is solely caused by these sick individuals. However, this is just not the case. Those sick individuals cannot have power and impact on anyone if people are actively opposing them. However, when people just sit idly by and do nothing, it gives these people the support they need to carry out atrocious acts. It is everyone's duty as a human being to actively oppose evil, to be vocal, and to not allow sick individuals and their ideologies to take root in our communities. It does not take one evil person to change the world. It takes thousands of complacent and idle bystanders in the face of evil. The second quote that really stuck with me was by Malcolm X. "A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything." This quote really stood out to me because everyone in their lives are forced to take a side on certain issues. Whether that is politically, personally, or whatever the case may be, there comes a time where you must decide for yourself what you believe. I made this decision early on in life that I was going to stand up for the silence and the oppressed people in this country. I believe that the work I've been able to do in both my community and the entire state of Illinois is because I know what I believe in, and I'm willing to work until I see it accomplished. I challenge everyone listening to find out what you believe, question the societal norms, and work to make your beliefs a reality. The last quote I'd really like to remember and have you really reflect upon is by Desmond Tutu. "If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor." We're currently in a time where the oppressed are calling out the oppressors. From BLM to the Me Too movement, we're hearing for largely the first time from these individuals who have been purposely silent since this country's founding. Being silent now is being complicit. It is not enough to keep your beliefs to yourself. You must go out and fight for those voices who are still not heard yet. I hope each of you rise to the challenge and fight for change that this country and this world so desperately needs. Well, thank you for listening to a few quotes that I've really loved over the past 5 years, and I hope you're able to appreciate them too.
Wow, what an amazing group of people, of young people who are, I dare say, going to change this world. That was incredible. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to bring back Janet Barkley now, as she has a few more words to say.
As we've been speaking of promise of future achievement, let's take time to congratulate our college senior scholars who will very soon be graduating. They have had outstanding educations, including internships, study abroad, and intellectual, social, and personal challenges that have led to exceptional growth. First of all, congratulations, Sincere Santiago, for your success at University of Missouri, Columbia in the field of sports medicine. You graduate next month and have already been accepted at Palmer College of Chiropractic for a 3-year advanced degree program. Palmer is a top-notch school that will prepare you to help your patients with kind, skilled care. We wish you great success, Sincere, and also happy 21st birthday this week. Nastya Sevrokova is a senior at University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, where she is soon to earn her degree in aerospace engineering. She has 3 courses to complete to graduate. First, though, she has a summer internship at Collins Aerospace in Kansas, which will pay her $28 per hour plus a stipend. She is hoping that her internship will in time lead to an offer for a full-time job from this big company. Good luck, Nastya, and congratulations on your true grit in a demanding field. Congratulations, Taylor West, for such an impressive 4 years at Western Michigan University. You served as student body president and have recently received the prestigious 2021 Presidential Scholar Award for the School of Social Work. Now you have taken the LSAT so that you can enter law school. Let us know where you decide to go. Any law school would be lucky to get you with all of your college leadership experiences. Graduating in May from Howard University is Kalei York, who has been selected to be a public policy intern at the Ronald Walter Center in Chicago. Kalei is passionate about the intersection between law, technology, and foreign policy. To learn more about this dynamic young woman and her accomplishments, you can just Google her. She's right there. Congratulations, Kalei, for fulfilling your promise of future achievement. And there is no doubt that there is much more success to come. We have the bookends of 4 scholarship recipients who are just beginning college and 4 outstanding recipients who have fulfilled their promise of future achievement and are graduating. All of them bring hope for our collective future as their potential blossoms. Believe me, they are very grateful to have the gracious support of the NCCA. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. I now return you to Erin Payton.
Wow, that is really, really exciting. Thank you for giving us the update on our graduating scholars. It's just really exciting to see what they've all got plans. I mean, again, I graduated and I was like, ooh, what do I do now? And they've already got it mapped out, which is just incredible. And they have so much to be proud of. And of course, getting to know our new scholars, it's going to be fun in 4 years to see what, if everything they have planned out continues along. I've got Duana echoed what you said, Janet, and she says, as I feel every year when new scholar recipients are introduced, hope for the future. Does that sound? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see the combination of academics, extracurricular activities, and with many of them, activism. They're coming from all angles.
Yes.
And they're nice.
Well, and I think that does give us hope that this might be the generation that will keep things going, that will keep change coming and that it will actually happen.
Now, Janet, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What is the best way our audience who are watching from home can support these amazing scholars?
Well, if I might suggest, it would be fantastic if you would make a donation, because we do have to raise a lot of money every year in order. Maybe you have to understand that we have 17 kids in the pipeline. So then that adds up to a big price tag. So we need to raise at least $34,000 a year to keep this program going.
And you do such an incredible job doing it. You know, with COVID potentially dwindling down, there's hope for an in-person fundraiser in the fall, but we just don't know right now. So
Right.
Every little bit we can raise from now until the fall is really going to help us get on our way to reaching that goal.
Yes.
So if you are inspired after watching this to throw a few nickels towards the scholarship committee, you can either go right on our website at www.nineteenthcentury.org. There's a big donate here button right on the homepage, and you can donate that way, or you can always mail us a check, and our address is right on our homepage as well. Every little bit helps, as Janet will attest.
Yes.
Well, Janet, do you have any last words to add?
I can only say that watching those kids be interviewed made my day. I mean, I know that this is an impressive group, but then when you see them lined up and listen to them and the finesse and intelligence and confidence that they show, it's just really inspiring after a rough year with COVID. And look what these kids have accomplished and kept going and overcame obstacles. I'm truly grateful to be involved.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I know the whole scholarship committee echoes that, and they've worked so hard in trying circumstances to keep this program going. So thank you to the whole committee, the people we got to see interviewing, and then of course, everyone else in the committee who we didn't see today. You are all wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, for everyone at the 19th Century Charitable Association, for Janet and the whole scholarship committee and everyone else, I just want to thank you for spending your afternoon getting to know our new scholars. Again, keep in touch with us to see what they're up to over the next 4 years. And we hope to see you at one of our, we've got about 4 Monday programs left. The season will end in mid-May. If you want to attend another one and want to know what's coming up, go to our website, www.nineteenthcentury.org, for our schedule of events. Well, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.